All right, and here we are. We're back with the BBL podcast. Today's guest, Alex Leleco Nacfur. Alex is a black belt here in Dubai. We met when I first came here. Actually, earlier on today, we were just supposed to do a little bit of drilling. We ended up doing some pretty hard rolling for 90 minutes, exchanging ideas. And yeah, so it's a pleasure to have Alex on. And what we'll do is talk about your journey to black belt, where it's taken you, and how you ended up where you are. So over to you.
All right, here we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. Just try to be fast on this one. Yeah, I started first with judo. That was a family thing. My father and my older brother both judo black belts. I started very young in judo. That was my first martial art, the one I really actually enjoyed doing it. I had big goals in judo, but I wasn't able to achieve them because I ended up just enjoying a lot of MMA as well. So it was a part of my life that I was always confused about it. I didn't know if I was stick to judo, if I should do something else. So yeah, my first martial arts was judo. From that, I went to capoeira. It's a very common thing in Brazil. I mean, most of my friends they either did capoeira or they know a little bit of capoeira. And then through the capoeira, I met a good friend of mine that became my master and coach, Ataide Jr., and he was the one telling me, why don't you try jiu-jitsu, why don't you try jiu-jitsu? And then when I was young, I was a minor, I can't remember when, it was around 1991, 1992. That's when I had the first contact with jiu-jitsu, and from then on was just fell in love with the martial art, and it took me to the heights that I wanted. I mean, I was able to start doing MMA with more knowledge, and that's it. And then from that day that I started BJJ, I never stopped in my life, never. Since then, I've been training regularly. I was coaching regularly, and because jiu-jitsu, I ended up being a head coach of a team in Brazil, MMA team in Brazil called Constrictor Team. Worked with my master and a few of my friends, and I was working with an athlete called Adriano Moraes, was a one championship fighter. He still is. He was a one championship world champion. And because of Adriano, I raised the interest from one company here in Dubai, and they hired me back in 2013. And that's it. That's what brought me here. And I'm staying. I'm happy what I'm doing right now. I've been working the same industry. I've been working martial arts for over, 20 years now. And that's what makes me happy. I'm very happy what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, we were talking about it just before, and that's basically from what you've told me, martial arts and getting to black belt that's kind of directed where your career has gone from Brazil, and then you traveled. Well, we'll talk more about where you've traveled to, because it sounds like you've been all over the world with martial arts. Particularly, we share a love of MMA, so we've been talking a lot about that, and we'll get into that. But so you said you started with judo. So with your background in judo, was that a fairly easier transition into jiu-jitsu? Because I've done judo myself and I forget all the names, but is the ground portion of judo, is that Nawaza? Nawaza, yeah.
Yes.
So obviously you were proficient in that with your experience in judo. Did that make the transition into jiu-jitsu easier, or was there still a lot to take in when you started jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, Michael, that's actually a good question because, I mean, we do not have a proper way to play guard in judo, isn't it? You don't see people playing their back. There are chokes and arm bars and all that, but it's not a common thing to see someone in the back when they play judo.
Yeah, of course.
It's usually someone on turtle position and the top guy trying to choke or turn him to pin him down, what you call or cycle me, that's holding people down. So I didn't have no guard game when I first came to jiu-jitsu. And that's when the hand of your master makes a lot of difference, right? My master, my coach, the guy I own, everything that I did in martial arts, which not a lot, but substantially good for me. He was the one who said, "You're gonna be playing guard for until you turn you get your purple belt." So as I had a good top game, I remember my first 10 tournaments as a blue belt. He didn't allow me even to take people down. I was obliged to pull guard and hold them down. Okay, you know what? Now I'm doing jiu-jitsu. Because at first, I was just holding them geese and just throwing them down, just playing top game. With not a lot of transitions and connections. It was just regular squeeze, hold, no judo pressure. Back in the days, there was no advantage. I mean, this back in the 90s, guys. Jiu-jitsu was completely different. So that transition and coming to jiu-jitsu, understand the guard was, or I need to pull guard, I need to understand what armbar is and all the sweeps. That's what opened my mind for jiu-jitsu. And to be honest, whenever I got my purple belt, even though I had a very tight top game, and there was one point in my life when I won the nationals in Brazil in 1999, and I pulled half guard most of those fights in 1999. So yeah, the transition wasn't hard, but wasn't easy at the same time. You know how it is jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is a very complex game, and especially if you come from martial arts like judo, it's very driven to the Olympic level. Jiu-jitsu is more, you know what I mean, more of a, I don't know how to say that in English, but more, not easier, but less compromise. I mean, you're less committed to the thing, especially back in the days. It was more a joyful way to play.
Right.
So I really got the mindset real quick, man. And yeah, it made me enjoy the process. You know what I mean? I wasn't struggling, to be very honest. I enjoyed what I was learning, the fact that I understand what guard was very easy, very quickly. So you know what? Now I have the top game mapped out. I can do that for good. So yeah, let's work on that bottom game, and that was the hardest part for me. Everything else was cool. I had a very beautiful team and strong team behind me. A bunch of friends that until now they are my friends. We grew up together. They're all black belts. So yeah, I had a lot of support, and yeah.
It's important there having a good team around you, and like you said 100%. There about getting to purple belt, which a lot of people don't get to. You know, we'll talk about getting to black belt, but getting to purple belt, most people don't get there anyway. For you to get to purple belt and have, as you say, a very developed game of the top game and the bottom game, and I can tell from experience that I don't mess around with judo guys, like letting them get scaffold or whatever. Like they've got a strong top game.
Man, absolutely.
One of my original coaches in Jersey, he doesn't play a lot of guard either, but if he gets scaffold, you know, I don't allow that to happen because that's it. He would just hold me there.
True, man. It's a very, very peculiar characteristic of the judo guys. Strong base, strong grip. They gotta hold the knee. It's really hard to do anything else.
So when you got to purple belt then, and you've got this, you know, well-developed game, what was the journey then like from purple to black? All
right, that's also interesting because my first MMA fight, I was a purple belt. So that was 1997.
Okay.
All right, I was a purple belt, and I was in university back then, and I was teaching university. I had this great friend of mine, David. He was a judo black belt that I used to know from the judo circuit. He had a gym on that city that I was. I was in a university city called Canas. Very nice place, very crazy place. So I started teaching BJJ on his gym, and mostly for the guys that were doing strength and physical education as their course in university. So I was teaching those guys, and the interest of MMA came. One guy that I knew in that city, listen, Alex, we are running a small vale tudo back in the days. It wasn't even MMA. There was no gloves. It was 20-minute rounds. And he goes, we're doing this bare knuckle, of course. We're doing this vale tudo event, and we have like a luta livre representative. We have someone from kickboxing. We need someone from jiu-jitsu. Are you up to that? And I wasn't training MMA back then. I had a little boxing experience, and I had a capoeira experience that. So you know what? Yeah, man, I would love to do that. So I got back to my city. I trained like for 1 month maybe, just open hands, just slapping each other with the gi. So after that fight, I said, you know what? That's something that I would love to do it constantly. But again, it was 1997, so we didn't have a lot of events back then. So when I first got into MMA, my jiu-jitsu, how can I say, trajectory or whatever, my jiu-jitsu goals, they're all put aside.
Right.
So I just started focusing on MMA. And then I stopped fighting jiu-jitsu as, like, professionally or with goals to be a world champion and all that. By then, I was already national champion and Pan American champion, blue belt and purple belt.
Okay.
And so after that fight, 1997, I fought again in 1998, and then I was in America in 1999 and 2000. I kept fighting in Hawaii. Yeah, that's it, man. Then when I got back from Hawaii, I had my son. I got back from Hawaii to visit Brazil, and then I got my black belt back then, 2001, from my coach. But my mind was already focused on MMA.
On MMA.
There were a few things that happened in between that kind of lost focus on me, but that's particular issues, family issues, and all these things. I got married very young and all these things. So I think I could have achieved more if MMA was well developed, but back then it wasn't. I mean, there was no UFC. UFC was minimal. You know what I mean? There was nothing. There was no major company running MMA around our country, Brazil, or even worldwide. There was nothing huge. You know what I mean? There was no money. you would fight for $200, $300.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I liked a lot MMA. I liked the whole concept. I mean, mixing up styles. And then my head was away from jiu-jitsu since that time. The first MMA fights, you know what? That's what I want to do. And then I kept developing my game. I went really heavy on boxing. I had this Cuban boxing coach. So I was parallel doing boxing, a little bit jiu-jitsu, and MMA. And then my black belt was given to me while I was doing all this. I wasn't just doing MMA, only jiu-jitsu. No, I was already mixing up.
Yeah. Well, I guess I know to get competitive, especially at the higher levels of MMA, you have to have a complete game, right? So your jiu-jitsu you wouldn't have been able to neglect your jiu-jitsu, even if it's just a different style. Were you still training a lot of gi, or did you transition more to no gi for the MMA training?
All right. I mean, you know me, Michael. Marcel also knows me. I do have a lot of injuries, right? And I'm a 48-year-old guy now, so yeah, my grips are really compromised. So gi is not my thing anymore. I'll do it, but I cannot do it constantly. You know what I mean? If I do once or twice a week, it's okay. But whenever I train back-to-back sessions, gi sessions, it doesn't work anymore. My hands, I mean, they don't work properly. I lose sensibility. I got numb and all that. So I rather train no gi than gi nowadays. Yeah, I was able to. I competed back in 2019 here in Dubai. In Abu Dhabi, I won the World Pro.
Yeah, I've seen those.
In 2019 Master 2 division. And that was my last run on BJJ. So let me try this. I came from knee surgery. It was 9 months after my knee surgery. I said, you know what? Let me try a little bit more. I rested for a little while, for 3 months. So I think my body reacted well, and I realized that I could go for the last run. So if I train hard for 2-3 months, even though I have my injuries, but I still can make it something happen. You know what I mean? And then I did it, but gi is not my thing anymore.
Yeah, it does.
Again, I like the game. I love judo. I like jiu-jitsu, but it's an issue. It's an injury issue. I mean, I just can't. I can't consistently train because it doesn't work.
Some people have got the grips of steel, right? And they don't seem to. I'm the same. I don't like. I still train in the gi, but if I've got hold of someone's collar or someone's sleeve or something, they
break it. Exactly.
Man,
I don't have good big hands. I have actually small hands, but I have good grips. I learned with the time. I have my own way to do it, but still, it's more than that nowadays. I don't know what it is. I don't want to just put a name out here, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if I have arthritis or any type of inflammation, but it's an unbearable pain, man. Unbearable pain. No joke. After I train, as I say, 2 or 3 times back to back, I need to stop for 2 days. You know what I mean? To keep just stretching and putting my hands on warm water, this type of thing. So yeah, it's not doable anymore. I still love the game.
Got to work around it, right? Yeah.
Still love the game, but no gi is a better thing for me now.
Yeah. So let's go back to kind of when you started really taking MMA seriously, because we've chatted a little bit beforehand, and I had a little look at your fights. Jungle Fights was probably the big promotion in Brazil at the time.
I think I fought.
We were just joking about this tree behind me. I saw I saw some of the entrances. So one of the fights, one of the first fights that I saw on Jungle Fights that when I was exposed to was watching. It was the first time I'd seen Lyoto Machida, and I watched him against Stephan Bonner. And I knew who Stephan Bonner was. I didn't know who Machida was. And see what he did to Stephan Bonner. I was like, who is this guy? I need to watch this. And it wasn't long after that he was signed to the UFC. But that was a big promotion. Well, still is a big promotion in Brazil, right?
Yeah, it still is the biggest by far.
Yeah.
The biggest by far in Brazil. In bringing up athletes, I don't think there's any other.
Yeah.
The amount of athletes that came from Jungle Fights.
Poitin just recently came from there.
Yeah,
right?
Poitin. All them. I mean, if I go back in the days, Verdun, Ronaldo, Jacaré, I forgot his name. No, Jacaré, I forgot his last name. Ronaldo Jacaré, Ronaldo Souza, Paulo, Thiago, Renato, Moicano, my friends and students, they all came from Jungle Fight. And there's many others. Charles Oliveira, we fought together in the same card, I think, twice. Eric Silva, even Little Nog. His last fight before signing up UFC was a Jungle Fight. We actually fought in the same card as well.
Yeah, you both won on the same card.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't defeated in Jungle Fight. I lost right after. I had a good run. I had a good run in Jungle Fight. I was in shape. My team was like really, really sharp. All my guys, all my friends and colleagues, training partners, we were all very, very sharp back those days, 2009, 2008. It was a good run, but unfortunately I had another injury. I had a shoulder surgery. I had to step out for a little while. And these months kind of messed up my mind a little bit. When I got back, I wasn't the same anymore.
Yeah. Well, you kind of hear that happening, don't you, after certain injuries or certain setbacks. But you kind of made the transition then, as far as I'm aware, made the transition to coaching some of those guys that you just mentioned and cornering those. So tell us a little bit about that, like, because I imagine you probably went all over the place, kind of cornering. I know you've been UFC and what was the
one
Japanese
championship, deep
in Japan.
With Ronnie, there's many other M1 Global with Rafael and Rounder Jr. Yeah, the thing is, when I was fighting MMA, and I'll be honest with you guys, I never had that thought of being a champion or fighting in a big organization. That's not. I swear to God, guys, this was just fun because there was no money involved. You know what I mean? So they never had that view. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna fight because I'm gonna make money. This is a new thing. I think it's last 10 years, maybe a little bit more than that. 15 years. Back in the days, in the early 2000s and end of the 90s, it was just fighting was the thing. You know, fighting. There was fighting for honor, for fun. You know, there was nothing more than that. So I never had that. Oh, I'm gonna win because I want to have a career as a MMA fighter. No, I was actually doing a few things on the side. I had to work, isn't it? I was never a professional fighter. I would fight professionally, but I wasn't living out of fighting. I had to work. So it was only when Paulo, Ronnie started fighting on WEC, WC, that we actually opened our eyes. You know what? Ronnie was one of a kind. I could go here hours talking about Ronnie. We grew up together. I mean, even though he's 10 years younger than me, but he was my boy, right? We were very tight. We used to train together. My coach, my master, Taid, was the one who actually raised Ronnie to the martial artist that he became and the human being that he became. So whenever Ronnie signed up with WEC, WC, was after his run on Japan. He had like many fights in Japan. Ronnie was undefeated. It was crazy. His run in Japan was beautiful. And when he signed up with WC, and I think 1 year later, Paulo, Thiago signed up with UFC, that we actually said, you know what? We can make this happen. We can, and then we have, as I said before, had a very nice team, very tight team, and a lot of good fighters, a lot of talent in that team. That's the problem, not the problem, but I was already 30 something, you know what I mean? I was like mid-30s, 34, 35. So I knew that, listen, I need to push now, 2-3 more years, and that's it, because nobody's going to sign a newcomer with a 4-year-old newcomer. They're going to do that. So I was really literally on the door, as I told you before. So I won 2 jungle fights, and my next fight would be Renato. So I had this injury. We were supposed to fight on Jungle Fight Victoria. It was the first fight announced, and then I had an injury in my shoulder. I was training with Ronnie back in San Diego in Alliance, Dominic Cruz and Phil Davis gym. And then I hurt my shoulder. Ronnie just got me in the guillotine. And then after that, and I lost the opportunity of fighting the last jungle fight I would fight, and maybe signing up with WC. And I said, you know what? I was coaching already. I was simultaneously fighting and coaching, but I wasn't no head coach. I was coaching the black belts, and because I was one of the first students of my master and coach to get the black belt. And then simultaneously I was fighting, training, and coaching. And then from there, the gym, the team became bigger. So I don't know if you understand the dynamics of a team. We have different camps inside the same team. You know what I mean? So we can have, if you have 40 professional fighters, all aiming to sign up with big companies, big events, we can't have one master, one coach running everybody at the same time. So it kind of split the camp. So we have Ronnie fighting in a few weeks from now. We have Paulo Thiago fighting another week. So we kind of split the camp. I can run that camp, and my master gonna run the other camp. So I was running always parallel camps along with Ataidi. So that put me in a nice position as a coach and opened my mind a lot to understand the game and to be able to help people from the sidelines, from the corner side point of view. Even though I was a fighter, but becoming a coach is completely different. I think you guys know that. I mean, getting the eye to understand what's going on, adapting, and be able to tell your friend and colleague and a student, listen, don't go this way, go that way, blah, blah, blah. So it was a nice transition. and mainly happened to me. Renato Moicano was my student since white belt. So he was the one actually, you know what, let me focus on this kid because he really has potential. And even though I was fighting at the same time, so Renato was one that, okay, let me focus on this kid and give a little something special for him. And then after that, I worked well with Adriano. I was in a good run with Adriano in Asia, Adriano Moraes, the one championship world champion. Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, it was a good thing. I wish I could have done more. You know what I mean? And when I first came, I can say, I think I can say that right now. When I first came to Dubai 10 years ago, my first offer was to run an MMA team.
Right.
But then I ended up working in a commercial gym.
Yes.
It became an MMA team, a martial arts team. So I had to actually hire coaches and run a program for kids and people that never did martial arts before. And since then, that's what became my life. My life became working in private gyms. And since 2014, I never worked the professionals anymore, just here and there, but not running a team, a professional team. That was my last run was back in 2014 when I came in with Adriano to the World Championship in one championship, and maybe I cornered Renato on Brian Ortega's fight and Jeremy Stephens. I was already living in Dubai, but I went there physically. I was there by presence, and I helped them in those camps. But yeah, since I came to Dubai, I never worked with professional athletes anymore. So, I mean, just dedicating my time to them now. I have my job, and if I could, I would 100% sure. That's my dream still. I think I have potential. I have knowledge to run my own or someone else's MMA team. That was my dream. I think, yeah. But I never did anymore. It's been a while.
It's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? And for people to understand, it's very, very different running a pro fight team or even a pro jiu-jitsu team versus commercial. And it kind of goes back to the point that you made before about when you started. There wasn't really, it was very, very rare to make a career out of MMA, right? Like you see the guys, and we'll get onto this in a bit because we had a good discussion before about fighter pay. But you see guys making millions now, but that just wasn't the case, you know, when you started fighting, right? And I know when I only fought amateur, but when I was fighting, there still wasn't, you had a few superstars, but it wasn't the kind of money and fame and superstardom that you see now. So the people that were wanting to fight, to compete, they were, you know, it's just teams of killers, right? Yeah. And you can't really turn that commercially. I remember I did a little bit of promotion where I'm from, and if you've got a team of killers, you know, sparring hard or training hard or whatever, and someone comes in to a commercial gym and they just want to do a little bit of fitness or whatever, they will go, what is going on?
Exactly.
I remember one time we had the pro team sparring, and we were in one room, and it was just stand-up sparring, and everyone's just going at it. You've been in situations like that loads of times, I'm sure. And I remember seeing a kid walk in,
eyes open, jaw,
turn around, leave.
Jaw drop.
Didn't even, you know, and that's the thing. You can't.
It's not the same.
You can't have the two. So it is understanding that kind of difference. So how have you found that kind of? Obviously, you've cornered a lot of people in the big shows, which we've spoken about. But how did you find that transition to a more commercial dynamic?
All right. Okay, I've been coaching before, right? In private gyms in Brazil, private gyms, but still, with what I had back in Brazil was freedom to work the way I wanted, and I mean, the gym was my master's gym. You know what I mean? I had some type of ownership on that gym, so we had freedom to do whatever we wanted to do, and even more important, in Dubai, they made the martial arts business. They turned the martial arts business into a corporate-driven type of business. As I told you before, remember, I learned so much here, but it took me away from the regular martial arts environment. That you're free, we can do whatever we want. You can talk, we are shirtless in the gym.
Yes.
And the gyms or the teams, they look like dungeons, isn't it? Like, yeah, that rough aspect. And when Dubai became completely different, I had to become a manager. I was a manager. Actually, I was managing everything from schedule to suppliers to, you know what I mean, to dealing with parents and report cards, something that we don't have in Brazil. The education system in Brazil is completely different what we do here. And here we actually we work with kids simultaneously with the schools, the term business and all that. And I never known this. So, and to be very honest, it was this first year was the first 2 years I was in Dubai. There was so much learning, and passed very quickly, you know. And I did have the will to learn. I really dedicated myself to learn, even though I wanted to be a fighter still, I wanted to be working professionals. There was that side of mine that was like, come on, man, it's not what I want for life. But at the same time, I need to say that the money was good back then, and the experience itself was wow. And I really absorbed everything. I was saying, you know what, I'm going to learn this. This is going to be my future. And yeah, I'm happy, man. I think was the natural things. And as you're getting old, and I'm in this country, and back then UAE, there was no, there was only this Desert Force. I believe UAE Warriors were just becoming something. I don't even know if I have UAE Warriors back then, 2014, to be honest. I remember I first cornered this amazing fighter from Morocco. He lives in UAE for many years, Anas Siraj Munir. We worked together in the same company. And I cornered him in Desert Force in 2015 in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. That was my first experience as a coach here. He was my colleague. We were working together in this gym, actually this club, the first club that opened in Dubai, on this concept of having martial arts, CrossFit, whatever, everything under the same umbrella. I was the head of the martial arts, the same job that I do now in my new gym. So Anas was working with me. I was cornering him back then. And then I said, okay, man, I might be able to do this, but there was no professional teams in Dubai. Maybe Team Nogueira, but they didn't have a lot of fighters. They were bringing fighters from outside. So yeah, the commercial side of it was a must. I had to go. There was no other way. I had to be there because there was no professional team that I could run or work together with.
Of course, yeah.
So it was a natural process, man, and I really enjoyed it. As I said, I really enjoyed it. Yes, I could and I wanted, and I would love to have achieved more as a fighter, as a coach. That's where my life took me, you know. I mean, I'm here, I met all you guys. I mean, we have a beautiful team now where we do and what we do. We have so many nice people around me. We have so many nice people around us. I'm pretty happy, man. No hard feelings, no regrets. And who knows? I'm not there yet, isn't it? Who knows? Man? I might. My next thing in my life might be going back to a professional team and running.
Yeah.
Good camps and to good fighters. Who knows?
Yeah, well, you know a lot of people, I'm sure.
Exactly.
I know for sure a lot of people want to pick your brain about your experience and stuff like that. So yeah. I know I do for sure.
I appreciate it, brother.
What the kind of something that we ask on this, or will be asking on this, is like the journey to black belt. Obviously, you said that you kind of got into MMA heavily around purple belt, but you still got to black belt, and you've been a black belt now for
since 2001, 23 years.
So
almost 24 years.
So a lot, a long time.
Long time.
So something that I kind of want to talk about in this is the attitude that's required, not just to get to black belt, but to be able to, that you learn from martial arts in general, but particularly when talking to black belts, that journey to black belt, what it teaches about humility, what it teaches about experience, being able to control ego, all that stuff. How do you feel that's kind of dictated or contributed to where you've ended up?
Oof. All right, this is heavy because it involves a bunch of different, phases of my life. And not only that, I could say, listen, on my city and region, I can easily say that was the second generation of jiu-jitsu, right? There was just one generation behind me. If you talk about the mid-western Brasilia, where I'm from,
okay.
I was in Rio before, yes. Rio, yes, they do have maybe 2-3 generations before, right? But in my city, in my region, I was the second generation. And honestly speaking, boys, your friends, I'm going to be honest with you guys. What we used to do back then, there was nothing humble about it. There was nothing martial arts driven. We used to be not street fighters, but jiu-jitsu mainly, it got to the mainstream based on what people used to do on the streets. They used to fight on the streets. That's exactly what it was, all right? The attitude was different. We used to walk around like this, with chin up, and we're not good people back then. I'm gonna tell you that. But we all learned. All right, and then we became good people. We became. I mean, our essence was always good, but jiu-jitsu, you know, my brother was like, yeah, man, no, we can do this. We can. I mean, I was always a skinny and small boy, so I was saying, no, man, I can do more than I was doing in judo and capoeira, blah blah blah. So the first reaction when you first learned jiu-jitsu was a bit weird, and I mean everybody. If you talk about the Grace family, I love them all, right? I have the utmost respect for all of them, but they were crazy, all of them, and they know that, and they are proud of that, and we are all proud of that, because if we're not for them, we wouldn't be doing what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they all fought in the streets, so it took us a little while to understand, listen, this is bigger than that, bigger than just fighting and showing off and try to pick up girls and showing off to your friends. It's more than that.
Yeah.
Thank Lord I had the judo background that kept me, you know what I mean, kind of focused, and I have a good family behind me and all that too. Kept motivated and focused. But I think once jiu-jitsu became well known around the world, and our image, Brazil became a reference, and then that's, you know what, guys, need to switch this up. We need to actually start behaving a bit better and showing our image a bit better. Again, nobody was stealing, nobody were jumping people. We were very brave because we were fighting one-on-one, right? There was I think jiu-jitsu brought this, okay, let's fight you and me, let's fight you and me. Nobody gets in, it's only with me. I think jiu-jitsu brought this culture up back in the days. And it cascaded down to the other countries that actually saw us. I don't know, I think once jiu-jitsu became this thing, I mean, worldwide and all that, it kind of changed our attitude. I remember the first time I ever went away, I traveled around the world to minister, to teach a class to someone else, and then we realized, you know what, man, these people look up to us, so let's take this attitude. When I was in Hawaii, I was teaching a military base, and I saw those guys looking at me and training. I was 70 kilos in Hawaii, maybe 75. And I was able to beat up those big boys, American guys from Army, American football players, and they really got into it. Wow, this back in 1999, 2000. They were like, wow, what you do is very cool. And there were a lot of people doing this already. And then that's when I actually realized, you know what, man, we can do that. We can also be cool and humble. And I think that phase of being, you know, a young kid and trying to show off, everybody goes through that. Almost everybody goes through that.
For sure.
So it took us a little while until we get the importance and the size what jiu-jitsu was. Then after that became a good thing, man. As I said before, I have good examples in my team, in my family. I was never that. I always loved to fight. Yeah, regular street fight. But always in one-on-one level, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I always like that, and yeah, jiu-jitsu just brought this feeling of fighting, and then it became this, and then tournaments came in, and then IBJJF, it was CBJJF, Brazilian Confederation first, and then we start competing, saying, oh, we can get medals, we can travel around. And I went to the Pan American 1997 to Hawaii, and I was champion over there. It was a beautiful thing, you know, I mean, start traveling the world, blah, blah, blah. And then change our way to see things. So, you know what? We can achieve more than that. It's not only that regional circuit that you can just fight and people know you from that. No, it can become a bigger thing. Further. Exactly. 100%. The thing is, it took us, and I must be honest again, it took a long time until jiu-jitsu became profitable. In Brazil, there was no money. Even those big guys, big names, all the great families. If it was not, we had private sponsors, but nobody was making money out of no competition. And that's the only thing I say about Carlos Gracie and Carlinhos Gracie, as they say, and the whole Gracie Barra and the federation. These guys, they took money for years, man, because we used to pay to compete, and they could call professionals. These guys were world champions, man, fighting 6-7 fights one day, and no money ever. So once jiu-jitsu became huge around the world, especially in America, and then the whole professionalism kind of
takes off.
But before it was just about testing ourselves and playing with our friends and fighting on the street a little bit.
I remember as well, you know, like starting off, and there's all the bravado and you want to be the tough guy and whatever. But like you said, when you kind of elevate to that level, when people are looking up to you, when they want to learn from you, when you're traveling around with it, then your kind of character takes on a different thing. Going, right, okay, people are wanting what I know. They're reaching out for your experience and things. So,
and you become also a coach. You see your students coming up like white belts. They're looking at you like this. I mean, what am I gonna do those kids? I mean, should I tell them who I really am,
they don't
what
need
I
to know
really
the
been
old
through,
stories,
or
right?
should I change myself so I can actually show them some good things? And it was a good thing. Man. It kind of changed me a lot. I tell you, fighting, martial arts changed me a lot. I became a coach very young. I've been teaching for a long time, jiu-jitsu, judo, and other things. Yeah. I think nowadays I'm actually okay, man. As a human being, I have a lot of things that I could get better and become better, but I'm okay. I respect people around me. I'm not an arrogant dude. I like to listen, and I like to give advice whenever I'm asked for, and I'm okay. I'm happy with myself.
Sounds like it's afforded you some great opportunities to travel and teach and stuff like that. So yeah, and always a pleasure for me as well to train with you.
Appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure, man.
Like,
I'm very happy what you did today, man. No joke. Your game today was sharp.
Thank you.
Really
Alex
sharp.
kicked my ass earlier,
No,
right?
I
So.
did not. I wish I did. Today was not the case, my man. It was not. It was very even. It was very tight.
No, it was good.
Very
It was good drilling, and yeah, always a pleasure. But for anyone who wants to find you, where can they find you? Is it Instagram, Facebook? Do you mess around with that stuff? Or?
Yeah, man, I'm OG, isn't it? I'm not very good on Instagram. I have my son helping me. I have this Alex underscore Leleco underscore Nacfur. But yeah, it's not a big page. I don't show much about jiu-jitsu or martial arts, to be honest. It's more my life and my kids. I have 2 kids. I love them very much. And that's pretty much what it is. And my friends, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But the regular routine, nothing massive. Even my Instagram is actually not open. Yeah, but I work in this gym called Well Fit. It's a massive, beautiful gym with a beautiful team behind us. Very nice management team as well, giving us a lot of support and respect and opportunities. I work in this gym in JVC, the Circle Mall JVC. Guys are more than welcome to come and try. We offer jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, karate, boxing. We have a very nice team of coaches, all from Brazil. It happened. We didn't look for that. Just happened
All from
naturally.
Brazil who work on Brazilian time.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're doing it, man. I'm here, guys. I'm with these guys all the time. So whenever they want to come and train with us and know a little bit more about us, it's a pleasure to have you guys around.
Appreciate it. Likewise. All right. So that's us done. Good work.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you very much.
Coming
Man.
on.
Thank you, guys.
Us.
Awesome.